Hello and welcome to Blue Notary. My name is Katie, and today what I'll be doing is going over a little bit of a study guide for the onboarding test. I wanted to go over some of the questions that might be a little bit tricky or you might not be sure on, and just kind of highlight what the best practices are for the onboarding test. So let's jump right into it. I put my notes over here, so that's what I'm looking at. So if you run into a tech issue while you are doing your signing, the best practice is to go through the checklist of having them refresh it, having them try a different browser, stuff like that, and just kind of generally run it down. And then after you have gone through that, reach out to our help desk on the bottom right of the session, give them the session number and then any relevant information, so that way they can try and help as well. So, troubleshoot first, and then reach out to our help desk, so that way we can help facilitate, and if there's anything that we can do on our end, we're obviously here for you to be able to do the notarizations, so feel free to reach out. The other thing is that you are required for Blue Notary to ask permission for this session to be recorded, and that is just in general polite, but then also at the same time a required question for Blue Notary to cover some of the legality of the consent. So some of our signers are in one-party consent states, some of our signers are in two-party consent states, and it would be unrealistic for us as the notaries to have to ask each time what state they're in and to know those laws. So just to make things simpler and just to cover every aspect that we possibly could, that is a requirement for Blue Notary to be able to do notarizations, to ask permission to be recorded for the signers. So the other thing is you can tag the documents before the session. So tagging the documents means when you have it in a template or after you've sent it out to the signer, you can tag the document prior to having the signer come in. So you can't do anything as far as putting your name on there or your seal. Like, you can't put your signature, you can't put your seal. But as far as filling out the date, filling out any of the relevant information, filling out your venue, you can do that prior. So that is definitely allowed, and I encourage it just because it's a little bit easier for me to remember and get everything all set. The other thing is you are not allowed to go back and make any changes to the document after it has been finalized. So after the session is complete, that document is that document. So if there is a mistake or if there is something missing, what you'll have to do is go back and redo that document with the signer present as well. So you'll have to do another session in order for it to be valid. So if you make any changes to the document after it has been finalized, it is not a legal document anymore. The encryption will be different. All of the text stuff will be incorrect. So to cover yourself, to cover the signers in case there's anything that ever happens or anything that ever comes up, what you'll have to do is create a new session. So that's why it's so important for you as the notary and then the signers as well to look over all of the documents, make sure that everything is correct, everything is filled out, all the signatures are there. So just make sure that you are going through to make sure that, there's no blanks, everything is above board, and that way when you finalize it, that's it. So don't make any changes afterwards. It's not best practice. So that is our take on that. If there is someone that is in the chat that is asking for a state-specific notary, what you'll want to do is reach out to your help desk. So reach out to the help desk and they'll be able to redirect to the correct state where they need to go. But it is not up to you as the notary to let them know that, it's valid in any state. Like, you can still do it, because some states or some offices, some recording places will only take it from that state. So we want to accommodate our signers. So just reach out to our help desk and then go from there. So that is best practice. And then you don't really want to tell them something wrong, like, oh, Texas will take this even though I'm in Florida, because it could be specifically for an office that only will accept Texas notaries. And that is completely within their rights, but it might be legal every state, which is correct, but you can't argue with that office that they're not, if they don't take that. So we just want to accommodate the signers. So that is best practice. Okay, so one of the other ones is that the notary you have to be within your commission state to be able to do the notarization. So if you are commissioned in Florida and you're on vacation in Colorado, when you are in Colorado, you cannot do the virtual notarizations for anyone because you're not commissioned in that state. So you want to make sure that you are complying with the laws of virtual notarization and make sure that everything is valid. So if anything ever comes up where it's questioned, you won't run into any issues. That will still be valid and you will be within your, complying with the law. So make sure that you are within the state that you are commissioned in when you're doing these notarizations. Now, it's different if the signers are in different states. That's completely different. Look up your laws concerning that, but you have to be within your commissioned state. So if you are notarizing a document, the document has to be pertaining to the United States. So you can't notarize a document if they are getting a house in Portugal and they're doing closing documents that are going to be recorded in Portugal. That is just not something that we can do. So if you have someone that is in Portugal that is buying a condo in Alabama, you can definitely do the closing documents for that. But as far as the legality of doing it for a different country, that's not supported yet. So that is not something that we are able to do as notaries. So just check your local laws, but that is not something that we can do. And that is the study guide for what questions are that I think create the most confusion. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're going back, checking your laws for the notarizations within your own state. And you really want to keep up to date and know what we are and are not able to do as notaries. And then also you're making sure that you are complying with BlueNotary's requirements as well. So I know that was a long one, but I think that this will be helpful. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And thank you so much.